Good morning. This is Brian Pulowski for Antiquarian Photo. Today I want to geek out a bit more on storage for digital image making or digital photography because it is part of the workflow for many people today for alternative or historic processes. What we're going to look at is a little bit more in depth of what I'm using for my secondary storage solution. This is where I back up my data from my OWC Thunderbay 4 with a Thunderbolt 3 connection. This is a Synology NAS box. This is the web GUI for the Synology NAS box. As you can see, I have a basic information panel here. I have the model DS 1817 Plus. That is an 8-bay or 8-drive max capacity unit that has 4 Ethernet ports, 4 by 1 gigabit Ethernet ports, and the ability to expand to 2 by 10 gigabit Ethernet ports, which I have done and installed. Information about the processors and the capabilities and the amount of memory. I had a maxed out configuration. I've been using this for a few months lightly, and for the past couple of weeks I've been using it much more strenuously as I've been doing backups of my coalesced primary storage device. It has 8 gig of memory over here. Thermal status is normal, good to know. I keep it in a closet in the front of my house. The primary storage is attached to my main computer, and that's physically separate from my backup storage. I have attached an expansion unit too. It's the Synology DS 517 because I'm migrating from 8 4 terabyte hard disk drives to 5 12 terabyte hard disk drives to increase the capacity of my backup device. I just want to talk a little bit about how you use a NAS device or a storage device on the network. You typically want to create a volume or a folder, a network folder that is used to contain your data, in my case, digital images, Photoshop files and the like. And I've called it NAS underscore N image. The NAS underscore N image volume is on top of a storage pool that is an RAID 6 array. This is important. I am using, instead of mirrored disks, which would be RAID 1, I'm using RAID 6, which is a double parity protection RAID scheme. The important thing is that that protects me against up to 2 disk failures, so that I actually have only 3 disks out of the 5 worth of capacity, but at 12 terabytes per disk, yielding about 30 to 36 terabytes of usable data space. That is more than enough for my now roughly 18 terabyte archive. Let's go over here to take a look at a little bit more about aspects of this NAS box. The control panel gave me a high level view of it. I can go over to a panel called the Storage Manager, and I have the old volume that was full at 18 terabytes, and I'm in progress in moving the data to the new storage unit, which is the 5 12 terabyte disks that I have on volume 2. What I like about the Synology box is this little line here that says Storage Pool 2, verifying hard disks in the background. When you have data stored for long-term usage and archiving, it's nice to have a storage unit that is constantly checking that the data has not become corrupted, and if it has, to try to correct those corruptions. So it's not just about surviving a disk outage, but also verifying that the data on the disks are consistent and correct. You get information about the disks themselves, such as the temperature, which is a good thing to know, especially when you put it in a small closet in your house. So one thing about the Synology NAS device is that I am on the console through a web GUI to the device itself. What's nice about the Synology box is that you're able to look at the files directly on the NAS device, not only through the mount, say on your Mac laptop like I do, or my Mac Pro desktop. Let's stop at this point for part 1. I basically covered the Synology DS 1817 Plus NAS box. In part 2, I'm going to talk more about how I organize my files and how I integrate that into Lightroom. This is Brian Pulowski for Antiquarian Photo signing off. Hope you all have a great day.